Hey YouTube, Tempest here, with a kind of a discussion slash deck profile thing. This is a deck that I have done before, but haven't actually run competitively because I haven't found it to be the best thing. So this is what people like to call high aggro Spike Brothers, and it's called that because of a lot of reasons. Mainly because it tries to focus on killing your opponent turn 3 or turn 4 if possible, and try to not let the match drag out. Um, so it's really important in this deck that you, it's not really important, but it's the key factor of this deck that makes it different from every single other Spike Brothers deck, is that this deck doesn't run the perfect guards. So it trades the extra perfect defense for super high aggression, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but in today's meta, um, perfect guards are just such a big part of it because of limit breaks and whatnot. So I feel like this deck is was more possible, you know, before the new stuff came out. But even then, you didn't have a lot of grade ones to run in the deck, so it's really hard to tell. Because Panzer Gale sucked ass, and the what the heck are they called? Spike Brothers Assault Squad, which is a really bad card. So anyway, this is my take on the perfect guardless Spike Brothers. It tested pretty well, but like I said, I prefer the perfect guard because it looks awesome and it's actually really decent. Um, so here's the deck anyway. This is going to be me discussing how it's supposed to work and whatnot. So starting Mecha Trainer. Some decks will run Darkbringer in their high aggro Spike Brothers, especially without perfect guards, because that means that it forces your opponent to guard early. Otherwise, you drop an extra card from your hand. But Mecha Trainer is still really good, I think. Um, Darkbringer tested also really well in this deck also though. So really either way is a surefire way, but this guy's just really consistent. 8 crit, 4 draw, 4 heal. You really don't need the stands in this deck because you do a lot of soul blasting with the brackies and whatnot, so you don't need even these stand triggers. Chances are your rear guards are going to disappear very quickly. Grade 1s, 4 Wonder Boy, 4 Reckless Express, 4 Medical Manager, and then 2 Deadly Daisy. Okay, so without the perfect guards in here, your main combos end up being basically call Wonder Boy, call Reckless Express, swing for big numbers. Yeah, that's exactly what you want to do. And then Medical Manager for soul charging, and that's why he's running 4. Deadly Daisies, point of the deck is a just in case factor really. Um, if for some reason when your rear guard is empty, you can just call her out. But really, she's only in there as an additional 7k booster. Yeah. Some decks will run Dudley Dan, but I like Dudley Daisy better just because you have the emergency, does he ever replace? Grade 2s are basically actually the grade 1 lineup is the only real change from the actual Spike Brothers deck because in my last video I was showing me running, 3 Medical Manager, 3 Reckless, and then no Daisies, but the 4 perfect guards. So these two, and then these would be your perfect guards. So these would be your perfect cards. So yeah, but this is another option for you guys if you really want to like Spike Brothers, but you think that it's super high, not high aggro enough with perfect cards. And it's by no means an unviable deck. It's got decent play style, but whatever. I just don't like it as much. But I'm just doing the profile for your information. Grade 2s, 4 Black Panther. Some decks will run them at 3, which gives them room to run a 3rd Deadly Daisy, or maybe Dudley Dan if they wanted to. I don't really know. But yeah, Panther's always good at 4 because of the consistency. 4 Bracky. That's also, standard aggro. Now 3 Field Driller. In normal Spike Brothers, he's a great card. He's still really good in this deck because of all the grade 1s you have. You'll never have perfect guard stuck behind him or anything, you know, you have to do that. But with this deck, especially with his focus on aggression, some people don't run him and instead they will run General Zachary. Zachary's skill is if his attack hits, you can Soul Blast 1 and then draw one. Draw 1 card and return him to the deck. So he's similar to that aspect with Field Driller, but you know he's a little bit more difficult to use, I think, because if your opponent guards him, he's stuck there, and if they choose not to guard him, yeah, he goes back to the deck. So it makes room for other guys, and he's a little bit bigger than the Field Driller, but you know, personal choice, Field Driller is always a better card, I think, just because he's more consistent. But that's just me. Because General Zachary is still a really good card. And then of course, you know, 4 Emperor, 4 Juggernaut. I've seen some decks run Skydiver in the high aggro, but it's not that, I don't know, it's not really needed as much as Juggernaut Maximum is. So that's the deck. I'm gonna try and show you how it's supposed to work normally. Yeah, with normally with high aggro Spike Brothers, you want to try and get your grade 1 field cleared really quickly. So let's say your opening hand looks something like, let's say it looks something like this, where you have Medical Manager, Reckless, and then 2 triggers and a random Juggernaut. Who's the Vanguard? Mecha Train is the Vanguard. That's right. Okay, so that's not a big deal. You just play Mecha Trainer. Okay, so you drew for your turn. You drew a Deadly Daisy. I don't know. Okay, well that's fine. You just use Medical Manager's skill. You ride it and you Soul Charge. Hooray. Which is good. And then after that, you say, well, now what do I do? And I'll tell you what you do. You call Reckless, you call Daisy, and then you call your one crappy trigger that you can't do anything with. And then you swing with your Vanguard first, because you don't have stand triggers in here. You hit the crit, you hit the draw trigger, then you swing, then you Soul Blast, and swing. But you only do this if you didn't get a trigger. If you get a trigger, you want to give it to Reckless, and then have him attack unboosted. If you don't have any triggers, then you Soul Blast, and then he goes away. So on your next turn, you draw your Field Driller because you're really fucking lucky. So you stand up everything and you ride Field Driller. You activate Mecha Trainer's skill. You counterblast. This is in the drop zone. This is in the drop zone. This one back to the deck. But with his skill, then you can call him back out and then do shenanigans because now he's again got the 12k boost. So that means he hits for big numbers again. Now, even though you don't have any grade 2s in your hand, you gotta consider that you're doing drive checks all over the place. So you have at least 2 cards in your hand. Maybe you drew a Wonder Boy. Okay, so now you have enough boosting power for your Vanguard to hit. So you do that. Normally, if you have Wonder Boy in your hand already, when you go to use Mecha Trainer skill, in a normal build, you'll probably go for your perfect guard. But because you don't need the perfect guard in this build, you'll probably end up going for Reckless Express just because it's amazing, and he hits for 12k with the Soul Blast. So you're hitting with the Vanguard. Is the opponent going to guard? Well, let's see about it. What if you use Reckless's skill? And then they'll have to guard that. This is going to hit for 12k, so they're probably going to end up blocking this anyway. What if you get a trigger? Then they may have to block even more because he's going to swing for 17, if they already guarded here. It's a lot of math and stuff. And then you go and you get an heal trigger. Wow, so you're not able to heal damage necessarily because you hit them for 3 damage first turn with all your grade 1s. But you do get to give 5,000 to your Reckless Express. So even if they guarded the attack, whatever, you still swing for 17 here. Guaranteed hit. 12. By now you have lots of grade 0s in your first hand. but that's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, it's good for the shielding, you know. So now you're at like 3 or 4 damage. You dropped a lot of shields because you have a very weak Vanguard. That's fine. You draw for turn. Hey, look, it's your buddy Black Panther. I'll call Black Panther. Alright, Juggernaut. Now, you might be in a tight spot right now, but the point here is what I'm trying to make is that you don't want to back down here. Even though, notice, Deadly Daisy is still in the front row, she's still being boosted by the grade 0 here. Black Panther is sitting here all by himself. You're going to be swinging for 19 here, plus a twin drive. Reckless Express gets called back, and you get Black Panther. Oh, what a shame. Those go to your hand. You can use them to guard with later. If you absolutely have to, you know, this might be a bad example because, you know, I'm drawing really badly here, but really what I'm trying to show you is that with the perfect guard, the Spike Brothers, you just want to keep being aggros as much as you can. So even if you're hitting for tiny numbers like this, any card that you can get out of your opponent's hand is better for you. Even if you're forced to attack your opponent's rear guards, as long as you keep attacking, you're good. And sooner or later, you're going to draw into the Emperor, and then you're just going to win the game because by then you've been just keeping on surviving that whole time. So that's how you're supposed to do it. I might try to post some more tutorial videos later, but for now, that's the deck. That's how you're supposed to do it. You just want to be super aggressive, even if you're swinging with like something stupid like Sonic Breaker boosted by Silence Joker for 9k first turn. It's not bad because you can just soul charge Silence Joker later, move back Sonic Breaker and do some stuff. So you're hitting for 9k, but then suddenly you call Black Panther and it turns into 19k. Or not 19k, 15k plus an additional soul charge. So it's by no means a bad thing. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the tutorial or whatever. That's the last video I'm going to be doing for a while. I have no idea how important it's going to be to regionals. Actually, later this week, my friend and I might be doing a Legendary Collection 3 opening for Yu-Gi-Oh! But yeah, this is the last video I have for a while. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned.